Good afternoon, everyone. Late this morning, we issued our path forward for Columbus Circle. It comes after decades of consideration and at times great controversy. Year in and year out, there's tension and division at the site. And this year, it's reached a crescendo. I'm sure you've seen the announcement this morning, so I'll just offer a few additional remarks. First, I want to make it clear that in this announcement, we are continuing a tradition in place for nearly 90 years by committing that Italian Americans will remain the focus of honor of the fountain and the obelisk monument at the center of the circle. I also announced that the city of Syracuse will move forward with steps in local and state law to remove the Columbus statue, the heads of indigenous peoples of the plains, and the bas-relief plaques, and seek to have them moved to a private site. This decision is based on the fact that we can honor our Italian American community without focusing on a statue that has become the source of division over decades and overshadowed the original intent of the monument. The circle will be home to a year-round education and learning site that will also celebrate the contributions of the Onondagas and others in the community, including Italians who have and are experiencing oppression. Finally, we will appoint a commission to design the specific changes that will occur at the circle. The process will unfold in the coming months. We will take every step to preserve and protect the statue in the process. I know some people will be hurt and others will be pleased with this announcement. I often hear it said that this is a no-win situation. It doesn't have to be. I think we've put forth a plan that allows us to move forward together, and I hope the whole community will join us. With that, I'll be happy to take questions.
Mayor Walsh, in the follow-up to your release that was sent out today, I did ask Greg and members of your team how soon we can expect to see the statue removed. So he said in the coming months. Does that mean before 2021, or does that mean we don't know yet?
Yeah, we don't have a specific timeline, Mary. We've been intentional throughout this process in moving it forward, and we're going to continue to move forward. Today is a significant step in that process, but there is a regulatory process that we need to follow to get there. It involves approval by the Public Art Commission, by the Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board, and also reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office. So we need to go through those steps, and in order to go through those steps, we need to finalize what the specific designs and vision is for the space. So we're not going to them with half of the plan. We need to have the whole plan put together. And as soon as we have that, we will take those steps. So it's hard to put a specific time frame on it. But again, we're going to move forward diligently.
Mayor, Italian Americans I've spoken to today are very upset. They say that this was a rush because of political expediency. They say that it's revisionist history and that they're not being valued, and you set the city back 100 years. Reaction?
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Ellen. We've tried very hard through this process to make everyone, including Italian Americans, feel valued and respected through this process. I've heard from a number of Italian Americans today already that are pleased with this decision because, among other things, it continues to keep the focus of the monument on honoring Italian Americans. But I understand not everyone feels that way, and my goal throughout this process has been to help our community heal. And to minimize and mitigate pain. And I acknowledge today that I'm causing some pain in this decision. I don't take that lightly. But I do believe in the long term, this will help to heal our community in a way that, again, does honor and respect our Italian American community and their history, but does it in a way that isn't divisive, that doesn't distract from the original intent of the monument, and that ultimately helps bring our community together.
Hey, Mayor, Chris Baker. Was this what was recommended by the action group?
So the action group committee report is posted on the Interfaith Works website. I believe we also have a link in our press release so everyone can read the report. There were a series of recommendations. The group did not come to a singular consensus. I never expected them to. My goal was to bring a diverse representation of the community together to help continue that dialogue and ultimately bring the dialogue that we've been having over the past couple of years to a point where actions could be taken. And I used the recommendations included within that report to ultimately inform my final decision.
So, Mayor, what then was in your final decision where you had to go and actually rule on what was non-consensus from the group? What put it over the edge for you to come down?
Well, I think that there was a lot of common ground among the group. Not surprisingly, that I think that the biggest sticking point was the statue itself, and I understand why. And to the point that was made earlier about erasing history, that's not the goal here. This is not about revising history. This is about portraying an accurate representation of history in a way that honors everyone. And so ultimately, I felt like certainly we could have made modifications to the monument that didn't include removing the statue. I want to acknowledge some of the Italian Americans that were represented in the group that did offer some modifications without removing the statue. But ultimately, I think one of the things I learned a lot in this process, but one of the things that I learned is that that the presence of the statue, regardless of any other modifications, was going to continue to divide this community. And I don't want, I want Italian Americans to be able to come to that monument, whether it's annually for a celebration or every day, and never have to worry about feeling like they're being threatened or feeling like they're being disrespected. And I also don't want people that view that statue as a symbol of oppression to feel not welcome in the city. It should be noted that this is a significant public space in the heart of our city. And I think it's critically important that it be an inclusive space where everyone feels acknowledged and respected. Again, I understand that this is a difficult decision, but ultimately I felt the best way to move forward was to maintain that focus and that honor on Italian Americans, but to do it in a way that removes the divisive components of it that, again, I think have distracted from its original intent.
Mayor, I know that you haven't decided where it will go, but when you talk about a private location, are we talking like the mall, or I mean, is it a private place that other people can go, or do you have any sense of what that means?
Yeah, Ellen, I want the Italian American community, including the Monument Committee, if they're willing to participate, to ultimately make that decision with us. That's been my goal from the beginning, is to have everyone feel engaged in the process and the outcome. So from where the monument is relocated to what additions or enhancements take place at the monument, which is a possibility. Because the focus is on the Italian American community, I want the Italian American community to drive that decision making.
Is there any criteria for that public or that private site? Like, it will need to be accessible to the public, or has that not been established yet?
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far, Chris. I think we made the determination because that we specifically pointed that it be a private site because of the fact that we're moving it from a public site. But beyond that, again, I don't want to be prescriptive. I really want to hear what people have to say, and hopefully we'll find a place that is accessible to those that hold that statue dear.
Mayor, also in the category of me asking a question you probably don't have the answer to yet, I'm wondering, will another statue go up honoring an Italian American? I mean, the obelisk without a statue won't look complete, and so I'm wondering what the future looks like at the statue, and perhaps how you would come up with even a name for the circle.
Yeah, again, it has to be a process that Italian Americans are engaged in and that the rest of the community is engaged in. Whether or not a statue goes back on top of the obelisk, that's something that I'm open to. I think that's where, when we engage the Public Art Commission and the Landmark Preservation Board, they're going to have some insight and some say as to the scale of the piece to make sure that it's historically appropriate. That may mean putting something else up there, but again, I don't want to be prescriptive. My primary goal here is to continue to honor Italian Americans while we remove that point of division, but also to tell the broader story of our community through this public space. I don't want that to get lost in this here. Another thing that everyone agreed on is that we as a community need to better understand our history, not just the history of Syracuse, the history of our nation and of our world. And we know that that many communities have experienced oppression, and many still do. And I want all those communities to feel represented in the larger public space, from the circle to surrounding public areas. And I think that we can really tell a compelling story for our community that, again, brings healing for all of our communities while still honoring Italian Americans. And I really believe we can be a national model here. This is a situation that's not unique to the city of Syracuse. You've seen how some communities have handled it, and you've seen statues come down in a way that is very painful and damaging. We're going to make sure that we protect the statue because we know it's important to people, but we're going to make sure that it's in a place that is respectful to all.
So who actually owns it?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, Mary, I stepped on you. Who actually owns it? It's kind of big. Are you going to like store it in the basement of City Hall or something, or someone else going to own it actually? I mean,
that again, Ellen, we don't know exactly where it's going to go. It's owned by the city of Syracuse. It's in the city of Syracuse right of way. We've maintained it for a long time now. But again, we want to work with the Italian American community to find the right place for it, and it's not gonna it won't come down until we have the right plan for what comes next.
Mayor
Walsh.
Smith, WSYR Radio.
Dave, I'm just going to go back to Mary for a minute because
sorry, go right ahead.
I'll get you next, Dave.
Sorry, I'm on a speaker view, so I can't tell when people are about to talk. But thank you, Mayor Walsh. I spoke to you at the end of June when the petition, or end of June, early July, when the petition started to come out and there was pressure mounting. You were very clear that nobody was going to pressure you or the city and these other stakeholders into making a decision. It's been over 125 days. We're 3 days from Columbus Day. Are you satisfied, and do you think people should be satisfied with the amount of time this took to make this decision? And you said you wanted it to be thoughtful and, done in a thoughtful way.
Yeah, I do believe it was done in a thoughtful way. You're right. I didn't think it was. I didn't want to feel rushed into it. I wanted it to be done in a way that was respectful to all. I think we're doing that. At the same time, I'll acknowledge there's never a good time, and I understand that members of the Monument Association did express concern and disappointment about the timing of the decision. I think that for me, it was important going into this next holiday for the community to have some clarity. I want the Italian Americans to have a respectful and peaceful ceremony on Monday, and I expect that they will. And I encourage everyone else to respect that as well. But again, I understand that that the timing is never going to be right for some people, and I don't take it lightly that there are people that are feeling very hurt today. I just hope that they understand and appreciate that this process was intended to ensure that that their voices were heard and that they were ultimately respected. And over time, I hope that people, even if they are feeling upset or hurt right now, will be willing to re-engage at the appropriate time to make sure that we get the next part right, which is what comes after.
Mr. Mayor, Dave.
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
Columbus Monument Corporation's response, in addition to their disappointment, they've also mentioned already that they are going to seek legal recourse to stop the monument being removed. Can you talk about that? Was the city prepared for that, and what your thoughts are on that?
Yeah, I hope we don't go down a legal path. Again, we were very diligent in going through this process and doing our homework, but also in engaging the Monument Committee or Association. We had members in the action group that have been a part of the Monument Association. I met with members of the Monument Association. I guess it was earlier this week or last week, within the past week. Again, I want them to know that I do respect them, and I do want this space and this monument to continue to honor their families and their histories. But I understand why they're upset. I feel badly about it, but again, I think that we made a decision. I think that I made a decision that will ultimately honor their family and their heritage in the long term. And I hope that that they are willing to come back to the table when they're ready and continue in this process of healing.
Do you have your COVID test results yet, and how are you feeling in quarantine?
Andrew, I got a call and a voicemail on my phone from an unknown number, and I thought about checking it right before I got on. I said, let's do one thing at a time. So I very well may have it on my phone, but I don't have it yet. I feel great. As you've seen, I've moved to a different spot in the house, so I'm able to get around a little bit. But things are going fine, and thankfully, I think that's the case for my colleagues as well. I hope that's the case for all of the media.
On that wavelength, Mayor Walsh.
Good.
Quick, Mayor,
Okay. On that wavelength.
Here, Mary, let's let Andrew finish his question, then we'll go back to you.
Sorry. Click.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I'm just wondering if your quarantine has been updated to mandatory from the county health department.
I have not received any formal correspondence yet from the health department. I suppose that could be that call too. So I'll let you know.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Sorry about that, Andrew. Didn't hear that. Another question on that subject from our team. I'm not sure if you're aware, members of our team, and I mean, I'm sure other members of the media that were there are now under a mandatory 14-day quarantine from the health department. And in hindsight, do you have any further reflection on if this mayor's conference should have been held here in Syracuse at all, not just the press conference, but that the meeting afterward at the Sherwood? And will you attend an event like that in person in the near future?
Yeah, Mary, I feel confident and comfortable that we took the necessary precautionary actions, and I'm certainly hoping for the best outcomes for everyone, including the media. My job is public in nature. It has certainly not been anywhere near as public as it was prior to the pandemic. I've scaled back my engagements, and I know others have as well. But I can't think of a more important issue to talk about right now than the city's fiscal sustainability. Everything that we're talking about, from maintaining our public spaces like the Circle to ensuring that our essential workers continue to stay on the job and provide the services that our residents need. This is the city's livelihood on the line here, and so that's a message that I will continue to unapologetically share at any point. But we will always do it in a way that protects the safety of everyone involved, including the media. And I appreciate that you all put yourselves out there on the front lines and put yourselves at risk. As I said yesterday, there's always going to be some element of risk. We have to do whatever we can to mitigate it. And I think as we start to see the tests come in, if we see that there were some positives, then we'll know that we're going to need to adjust our approach. But if we don't, then I think that it's safe to say that we took the necessary precautions.
Mayor, hi, Chris Baker again. If I can go back to the statue, there is a wreath-laying ceremony Monday. Told County Executive McMahon is going and speaking, so is Congressman Katko. Do you plan to attend and make any remarks at that ceremony?
Chris, well, number one, I am in quarantine, so for that reason, the answer is easy, that it would be a no. I think even if I wasn't, I've tried to be very sensitive and respectful to the Italian American community, and specifically those that celebrate this day. If they thought that my presence there would be a positive, then that's something I would certainly consider. But the last thing I would want to do at a point where, admittedly people are hurting right now, is to further cause pain or distraction from their celebration. So I'm hopeful that they'll have a good day Monday, a peaceful day. And I'm sure there'll be some mixed emotions, but I just want them to know that I have nothing but respect and honor for the Italian American community, and my goal here is to make sure that that remains intact as we respect and honor everyone else in our community. Any other questions?
Any ballpark on the cost to remove the statue?
Again, the way that we're looking at it is that whatever costs are incurred are going to involve the removal and whatever additions we've made. So we're not at that point yet, but this is a piece of city infrastructure that that we're responsible to maintain. So we've done that in the past. We've received help from the state, from the Monument Association. So I suspect going forward it will be a combination of public and private resources that will maintain it. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, the only thing I just want to reiterate a couple last points. I think I've said it loud and clear. The goal here is to ensure that monument continues to respect and honor Italian Americans, but to do it in a way that removes the divisive aspect of it that I think makes us lose attention to what's what the original intent of the monument was. I also want to acknowledge we talked about other communities represented, including oppressed communities. I want to acknowledge the Onondagas. They were gracious in participating in this process. I've had discussions with leadership today, and I think that they that they deserve to be recognized because we are sitting on their ancestral lands and respected in this process as well. And I'm confident that we're doing that. So with that, thank you all for taking the time, and be happy to talk with you all again soon.